What's up, AmSpa family? Alex Thiersch here, CEO of AmSpa. It is Tuesday. Happy summer. Great to see everybody. Listen, I wanted to check in because as many of you have probably seen, and if you haven't, we will put a link to it below so you can check it out. There was a rather in-depth story on last week with John Oliver, which is a show on HBO. Many of you have heard about it, featuring med spas just this past Sunday. And for those of you who aren't familiar with John Oliver, he's a comedian. He does these shows where he kind of does an in-depth dive into topics that typically are somewhat unsavory, and he really tends to tear them apart and put them in a bad light in his own particular, oftentimes very funny way. And so he chose this past week to do med spas, and so great for us, right? But I encourage you to watch it because I wanted to give a quick little reaction to what we saw, because I think, nothing so much really surprised me. I don't think it's really surprised anybody. There was nothing earth-shattering in his report that I think we need to be necessarily worried about. But I do think that the fact that this was, again, another kind of national news story in somebody with a big audience just reinforces the fact that we've been really been kind of raked through the coals over the last 18 months to 2 years, and this is kind of a wake-up call for the industry, I think. And I would love to know what your thoughts are, so please leave your comments, let us know what you think. But most of his special was pretty good. It was relatively well researched, although some of the things I didn't entirely agree with. You couldn't really quibble with too much of it. I wasn't super fond with him naming some particular brands in the industry. I didn't think that was really fair. But the fact of the matter is that what he was able to do is what folks who make news stories in this industry are typically able to do, and that they go after published factual news stories that are very easy to find. When you've got folks who are passing away at IV clinics, med spas, when you've got injuries and things that are happening at unsavory places, it's not difficult to find these things on the internet and blast them out. And that's the only thing that people are really hearing. And so I think right now it is incumbent upon us as an industry to come together and take this very seriously. I don't think, not to say that we haven't been taking it seriously enough, but now I think is the time where there's no other time except for right now. We are not in a position where we can brush this off as a future problem, because the fact of the matter is that we are seeing right now the very real consequences of what happens if we don't come together and really start regulating ourselves, having consistent standards for how we believe med spas should behave, how we should be treating patients, who's qualified, what the training should be, what types of minimum standards we should have, what types of compliance should be in place. I don't think this is a time for us to necessarily be ignoring the issues that are out there and not focusing on the fact that there is a problem in this industry. There are folks who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and every time they do that, every time they do something and it gets caught on the news or it gets blasted out into social media, ultimately we risk having another news story like this one come up. And this is not going to be the last time. There's another article coming out, I think within a matter of weeks, in a big publication that I know of is coming as well. So all of this is to say that I was not surprised that this happened, but I think it's the fact that it's become so mainstream to kind of pile on to med spas, and it's almost become a joke. And I think that's what concerned me more than anything, is that when it starts becoming comedy, that goes beyond, okay, we've got a problem with a serious industry that needs to be addressed, to, this is not being taken seriously. And if it's not being taken seriously and it's not being handled internally in the way that we need to handle it, that people are going to start to think that we are not taking it seriously. And I know that's not the case. Having been in this industry for as long as I had, and gone to the conferences and seen, the thousands of providers out there and owners like you all who take this industry so very seriously and are so professional and patient focused and focused on safety more than anything, it really hurts me to see these news stories come out, and some of these stories come out where we kind of become a punchline. So I'd like to know, what you think. We've got a lot of ideas, and we've got some big things that we're rolling out very soon that we're excited to work with you about. But none of this is going to matter if we don't do this together. We've got to be on the same page. So that means coming together even more than we were before. Right now, we're still very disparate. We've got to have we've got to be united in what we believe in and in what we're purveying to the outside world. We've got to have, like I said, consistent standards and consistent levels of training so that everyone knows when they go into a med spa, when they look at a med spa, when they're driving by a med spa, that it's safe and that it's not the subject of some punchline. We need to figure out exactly what our image is going to be that we purvey to the rest of the world. Are we going to be, fun and all the things that we see on Instagram and social media, which is great? Or are we also going to talk about patient safety and all the things that come along with that? I mean, I know none of this is, the folks that are watching this probably on our channel are nothing new to these conversations, but nevertheless, these are important things that we have to deal with. And the fact that it came up on a kind of a pop culture show like John Oliver was, I don't know, kind of tough to deal with, but also, hey, it's mainstream, so we got to deal with it. I think it's an opportunity, and I think it's a real opportunity for us to move forward as an industry and to make strides and to make progress. And that's what we're going to do, and we would love to have your support. So please check out the link below, check out our website, check out the information that we are putting out, because we have got so many things coming that I think you're going to be excited about that are going to help. But more than anything, we need your support, your ideas. We need your help in making this a reality, because here's the bottom line. If we don't do something about ourselves right now, and that if we don't get our own house in order, if we don't clean up our own backyard, for lack of a better word, or our own front yard, someone's going to come in and do it for us. And we're seeing that happen right now with what happened with the legislation in Texas, which for those of you who don't know about that, was a scary situation. You can check out more about that online. There's a ton of information on that. But we're going to have somebody else come in and do it for us. And the folks that are going to do it for us don't have our best interest in mind. And more than that, they don't really understand the industry at all. And we're not going to like where we end up. I promise you that. If you don't clean up your backyard and the homeowners association comes along and does it for you, typically it's not the best result. So anyway, let us know how you feel. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to have more. We're going to have some webinars. We're going to have some, we'll do some further compliance training, some more meetings and things like that. We'll have some toolkits that come out, but more than anything, let's keep together. Let's keep talking. Let's one foot in front of the other, and let's keep going. Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.